If you don't agree, I'll have to marry your sister. She cracked my head open when she was 15. If I ever end up in her hands, I'm done for sooner or later. I am a man. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. You're handsome. When the time comes, put on some makeup, paint your brows and wear the wedding gown. You'll be able to fool anyone. 2 years ago, 19-year-old Fu Jinchuan met 15-year-old Lu Yuning, and then with a piece of jade coral, she smashed a giant hole in his forehead. Ever since, he has viewed her as a wild beast. Lu Shining, see this through to the end. If you marry into that family, I promise to treat you well for the rest of my life. I'm leaving for the front lines next month. I don't have time to play games with you. Don't miss me too much either. With any luck, I might make it back to the capital for the holidays. You work hard at your plowing, and bring a nephew into this world. That'll be enough to honor our brotherhood. Save me. Please, you have to save me. She is here. She is here. Fu Jinchuan, prepare to die. Fu Jinchuan, I heard you were going to marry me. Calm down, noble lady. I fell in love with your older brother at first sight. I would never dare to aspire to you, noble lady. At first sight, it is just that he and I are truly in love, a bond forbidden by worldly conventions. That is why I beg for your mercy, noble lady. Allow Shining to take your place and marry me. Brother, is this what you want? Yuning, I have something to tell him. You head back first. Brother, go in peace. I'll go to the front lines in your place. Where are you going? Home. Fine. I'll have someone start making the wedding gown to your measurements. Eastern pearls, 5-colored thread, a phoenix motif. What kind of style would you like? As you wish. Sit. Xining, how is the preparation going? It's all right. Our family's future in the bureaucracy depends on you. Go to the battlefield and earn yourself some merit. Must Yu Ning marry Fu Jinchuan? I don't think she wants to marry him. She has a fiery temper. It wouldn't be a bad match for her. We have no sons in this family. As the older sister, you should try to persuade her more. If your mother knew in the afterlife, she would be at peace. Sister, don't try to persuade me. I grew up on the battlefield. I can't stand being around those scholars. I was born to kill barbarians. The battlefield is perilous. Swords and blades have no eyes. You are a young woman, don't get mixed up in this. Sister, you are naturally brilliant, renowned for your talent since childhood, gifted in both literature and martial arts. You have always carried the heavy burden of this family. I also want to share the burden for the family just like you. It is enough that I bear the burden for this family. You don't need to put yourself in harm's way. Living a stable life is enough. But all these years, I've watched you become increasingly reticent. I know you don't like these things. Our family isn't just you. Why should everything be forced upon you? Lu Yuning. Are you afraid that I'll steal your spotlight? Get out. I don't want to see you. Last night, Yuning came to offer me a drink to apologize. She said she wanted to have a drink with her brother before getting married. Lu Yuning, you have truly rebelled. The bride is stepping out of the sedan chair. Don't just stand there, hurry up, my lady. I beg you. Cooperate. Ninging, your husband has come to fetch you. Absurd. I was worried about how to save my own skin while bringing your sister into my home. Well, this is perfect. A man's favors are hard to come by. I have to say, you actually look quite pretty dressed as a woman. If you really were a woman, I would have truly married you. You flatter me truly. My wife is just being mischievous. She is just playing a prank on you all. It is our wedding night. Where do you think you're going? Lu Yuning plans to leave the North Pass tonight. Is it too late for me to go catch her now? Catch her? Catch what? The child has her own legs to walk on. Are you really going to chop them off? Stop right there. If you leave now, not only will the Lu family be executed, but my Prince Mingyi estate will be wiped out with you. Young Master Lu, use your head. The city gates have already finished their watch. Do you intend to run through the streets in this bright red wedding dress? Are you afraid others won't know you're a man in disguise, married to me, Fu Jinchuan? Or are you worried the guards hunting, assassins are blind? That is indeed not worth it. If father finds out and drags me back, given his temper, he'll surely break both my legs. Stay calm. I have already sent my trusted men to chase after her. We will have news in a few days. Until then, I must trouble young Master Lu to suffer a little longer. Keep playing this role. What do we do now? Why don't we just consummate the marriage early? Young Master Fu, are you even aware of what you just said? Look at you, I was only joking. Isn't there someone outside listening in on us? We're all grown men here. What are you afraid of? Being teased? Fu Jinchuan, come here. No, don't stand on ceremony. I'm quite comfortable standing here. Stop backing away. Behind you is. Young master, the tooth is only slightly chipped. It won't affect your appearance. Stick to a light diet from now on. Avoid food that is too hot or cold. Don't make a scene. You must not make a scene. Hey, let me tell you, that widow from the Wang family is actually with the steward of the Jiang estate. Brother Lu, tomorrow is the Princess Xiang's birthday banquet. I'll trouble you, young Master Lu, to help me scout around, see which young lady has the best figure. Fu Jinchuan, you must uphold your masculine virtue. My sister married you, not so you could go scouting for beauties. You take it too seriously. I'm just helping you pick out some candidates, aren't I? In case you ever restore your true identity, you'll need to take a wife eventually. What are you two doing? Mother, I was teaching Ningning some sword forms. Look, if you face danger you must strike here. Fast, ruthless, and precise. Is something wrong, mother? I brought you some trendy fabrics. Tomorrow, all the distinguished ladies will be in attendance. Yuning, stay by my side tomorrow. When we arrive at the Prince Xiang's mansion tomorrow, you must watch your words and behavior. It is a place with many people and gossiping tongues. Don't bring shame to our household. Mother, Ningning isn't fond of such noisy occasions. Why don't I go in her stead? I stare at Fu Jinchuan's shameless demeanor, and I can practically hear the plotting in his head. What do you mean, go in her stead? The Yuyang girl, the Xin girl, he wants to look at any woman who is pretty. I want to see exactly what kind of tricks he can pull. But mother, a gathering for women is no place for a man like you. You stay right where you belong in the front courtyard. Back when we were classmates at the academy, every time I woke up, I would see flowers meant for Fu Jinchuan outside my window. This fellow really is quite popular among the young ladies in the capital. They say there are 3 acts of unfilial piety, and having no offspring is the greatest. Bearing children is the very foundation of a woman's standing. It is all about ensuring the prosperity of the family line. I stared at the floating leaves in my teacup, recalling the attack by stratagem chapter of the Art of War I read last night. I heard that the Lu family has always lacked female guidance, and your father is too busy training his troops, so it is no wonder the daughter raised there is a bit lacking in manners. An ordinary family would never be able to tolerate such a temperament. Only your mother-in-law has a kind heart, keeping you at the manor to teach you with such care. Yuning, this is truly your good fortune, as a young lady of a noble house. Now that the princess and your mother-in-law are both present, how could you be so absent-minded, without saying a word in response? Where are your manners? I'll go. Is this the legendary scene of an inner chamber battle? Yuning, is this how I taught you back home? What the princess just said, did you take it to heart? Mother, while I was away, what are you whispering about here? It was so boring waiting in the front courtyard, so I came to the back garden to hear what the ants were gossiping about. Jinchuan, it's been a long time. After spending years at the academy, you've grown undisciplined, losing all sense of propriety. What were you just talking about? Oh, I remember now. Mother, I heard there is a new star performer at the Kunfang Pavilion with dancing skills second to none. I was planning to go see her for myself tonight. Latter, please put in a good word for me with Yuning, so she'll let me off the hook. Absurd. You are a newlywed. How could you go to such an unsavory place? All right, I know. Hey Lu Shining. Where is that sachet of mine? The one I told you to embroider for me. Is it finished yet? The sachet? I knew you had forgotten. Come on. Let's go home and you can embroider it. Stop being a nuisance here. Let's go. Brother Lu, how was that? I put on a good show, didn't I? Those ladies must be feeling sorry for you by now. My thanks. What is the point of a kowtow? How about showing your thanks in another way? Like what? Madam, send your finest girls over to wait on us. And find a pretty one for this young man as well. Young master, have a drink. Brother Lu, there is no need to be so stiff. I'll be waiting for you outside. Have a good time. I'm done playing, let's go home. Since childhood, my father raised me to be a military leader, diligent and disciplined. I never wore rouge, and I've even forgotten the taste of the osmanthus candies that girls on the street love so much. Places of indulgence like this are, to me, a dream I could never reach and dare not covet. My father always said I belong to the battlefield and should not harbor any longing for such things. Tonight, I finally realized that Fu Jinchuan and I are people living in two different worlds. Ninging. You should just call me Brother Lu from now on. That won't do. Since we're living under the same roof, we cannot let our guard down. If my mother gives you a hard time again, make sure to tell me. Tomorrow the princess will be schooling the princess consort on proper decorum. Morning and evening greetings, nothing can be missed. She is already asleep. The heir has not rested yet. How could she possibly retire first? That is absolutely ill-mannered. Since you are so fond of rules, why don't you go practice them on yourself? I wouldn't dare, young master. Remember this, she is my person, the rules in this courtyard are set by me. As for tomorrow's morning and evening greetings, I will attend them on her behalf. Young master, she comes from a rough, uncouth background. If she is not kept under strict control, it will be your reputation that suffers in the end. I suggest you stop looking for trouble. Since I have taken the Lady Lu as my wife, I will not tolerate a single word of gossip about her in this household. Have you forgotten how you got that injury on your forehead? I was just clumsy and bumped into a rock. What about it? Get out, get out. It seems it was the right decision that Yu Ning did not marry into this family. Father wanted to find a good life for her, but the rules of the Prince Mingyi estate would only be a prison for a lively spirit like hers. Ninging. You must not misunderstand. I just saw a mosquito here. Yes, that is right, a mosquito. A ridiculous thought almost shattered my logic. Could he actually be interested in men? Go to sleep. You really shouldn't let your imagination run wild. I actually quite enjoy visiting the brothels. Yes, I understand. Though I answered him, in my heart I was already calculating. I must find a way to help Yu Ning annul this marriage. Once upon a time, my mother also stood behind me, pushing me toward the vast open sky. Back then, I could see the woman selling tofu outside the walls, and children running in pursuit. My skirts were filled with the breeze of midsummer. After my mother died, father said, my arms were not meant for pushing swings, but to wield a spear, kill the enemy and protect our country. Princess consort, it is getting late. If you want to watch, then watch. I am the noble princess consort of this estate. What is wrong with watching a swing for a while? Mother, I usually hate it when people disturb my sleep. If she comes to pay her respects every single day, I will never be able to sleep peacefully. But these traditions, I know my own daughter-in-law well. Only I know if she is good or bad. Why bother setting such rules? I do not intend to make things difficult for her. But the two of you walk the halls of the imperial court. If someone finds leverage against the women of our house, I fear others will try to trip you up. Mother-in-law is absolutely right. From now on, for my morning and evening greetings, I shall not miss a single day. See, you are sensible, after all. If only you could bear the heir some children soon. Mother, we will head back now. I haven't officially offered tea and paid my respects to mother yet. What respects? Do you really want to listen to her go on about having children? Could you let go of me first? Do you like the young lady over there that much? That is a distant cousin of mine. If you truly like her, I can act as a matchmaker for you too. That is not it. I just think that swing looks quite interesting. Do you want to play? Do you? Ever since father forced me to change my identity, I have never thought about that question again. For the person I am now, it is no longer a matter of wanting to or not, but of whether I should or should not. After all, a boy shouldn't like swings. Don't be shy. You are a woman in every sense now anyway. A lady on a swing, who would laugh at you? These light, airy words fell upon my heart like a feather. A desire buried for years grew wildly at this very moment, like a seed breaking through the soil, growing furiously. Yenner, your sister-in-law wants to try too. Take this money and go to the end of the street to buy some candy. All right? Yay, this big sister is so beautiful, and her dress is pretty too. Hold on tight. Miss Yanner, Fu Jinchuan, call for help. Catch the young lady. Spare me. Spare my life, my lord. Who sent you? Spare me. I just wanted to steal some money to spend. Stealing money? Can ordinary bandits afford a dagger made of such fine steel? Tell the truth, or I'll help you bleed out. Keep an eye on him. Don't let him get away. Big sister is bleeding. No. You can trust my people. There is no need. It is just a small wound. I can handle it myself. Bullshit. Fetch a doctor. What are you doing? Don't move. Let me look. I don't need you. We're both men. What are you afraid of? That is exactly what I'm afraid of. Dressing as a woman while being a man is an offense against the emperor. No one can ever find out. Get out. Xining, will you let me look at the wound, please? I won't move at all. I'm sorry, I'll have the doctor come in. I didn't mean to. I was just so worried about you. Please don't be angry, okay? Bring me the liquor. I'll do it myself. My lady, should I call for the doctor? Perhaps some anesthetic would help. Change the water. Change the water. 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 Take it slow. Does it hurt? No. Tell me if it hurts. I'm right here. You'll be better by tomorrow. Don't make me leave. Ninging, do you want some water? You stayed all night. Yes, the doctor said you needed someone to watch over you. They are all women. I couldn't rest easy. I'll leave once you're feeling better. In the chaos yesterday, he accidentally revealed his heart. He likes men. He has always liked me as a man, but I am not a man. Hold it yourself. We are on different paths. I know, but that doesn't conflict with me liking you. I'm sorry. Any news on Yun Ning? Let's separate. From now on, our two families should have no contact. That thug's dagger was made by the barbarians beyond the pass. It is the Lu family's enemy. I can't give him any answer. It is better to make a clean break. Very well. Father didn't scold me much. It seems we can't wait until tomorrow. Perhaps this is the only time I'll ever sit before a mirror to dress. Lu Shining. Why did you come out? There are some things I want to tell you. Go ahead. I am leaving. Will you come back? I don't know. The barbarians are in revolt. The war could last for many years. I know what you're trying to persuade me of. I will not take another woman as my wife. I wish you hadn't known about this. I'm sorry. If you have someone you like, then. I already have someone I love. Brother Lu, how can the world always go according to one's wishes? To love and not be loved in return is only natural. That is a signal from my father's trusted aide. Then, I shall take my leave. Take care. Take care. Brother Lu, you dropped something. Damn it, that was the year my mother passed away. She embroidered it for me with her own hands. Eldest daughter, Xining. If my identity as a woman were ever exposed, it would be an act of treason. Father warned me time and time again that if anyone were to discover the truth, they must be eliminated without mercy. Fu Jinchuan, give it back. I'd appreciate it if young Master Lu would explain this. What exactly is this? I apologize, it's a long story. Latter, I will tell you. We've been fellow students for so many years, yet that isn't worth a single honest word from you. I told you long ago that you and I walk different paths. I am the backbone of the Lu family. That reality cannot change. Fine. Lu Xining, you are truly something. You're going to kill me to keep your secret, aren't you? If you've got the guts, just stab me. End it all once and for all. I am not like you, your grace. Born into such a prestigious family, the entire Lu clan depends on my father to survive, and eventually it will be up to me to provide for them. What do you want me to do? Like a fragile woman with no strength to bind a chicken? I earn my survival from a pile of corpses. The only thing I feel guilty about regarding you is ignoring our differences in status to become confidants. Every fault and every mistake is mine. When I return in triumph, I will submit to whatever punishment your grace deems fit. You think I care to punish you? Then what does your grace want? My life? If I had known sooner that you were a woman, what would I have been holding back for? I want you to give yourself to me. Impossible. Come here. Who said you had to earn your life on the battlefield? You say you have someone you like. I have someone too. You chase yours. I'll chase mine. Let's see whose methods work. Lu Shining, you dare to sever ties with me? Young master. You've been distracted since yesterday. Are you worried about the second miss? Yes. Young master, in one more day we will reach the northern pass. You will see the second miss very soon. Yes. Beyond the green hills lies a wilderness stretching for 1,000 miles and a cruel, bloodthirsty enemy. In this life, I am the blade the Li dynasty keeps in the north. I cannot be a pampered blossom of the capital, nor a swallow nesting under someone else's eaves. The northern pass is my true domain. The barbarians are celebrating the new year too. They've raided several small towns recently, stealing chickens and ducks, and they have no fear. Brother, you haven't seen how they've been running wild while you've been nursing your injuries. I suffered a defeat. I have no one to blame but myself. Yuning, help me check if the wound is bleeding. To save them like that, how has the Prince of Mingyi treated you? You know well enough in your heart you must be out of your mind to go save some distant relative you barely know. Now you have a permanent injury that keeps splitting open at the slightest movement. It is a crying shame. Brother, when will days like this finally end? Is there really no one else in the entire Li dynasty who can take your place? Sending an inspector here just because of one defeat. Those people in the capital are all a bit touched in the head, pampered and spoiled. They love to find fault. You don't like them. Then I simply won't see them. If I don't see them, must I send you instead? Father is getting on in years. You are the backbone of our northern pass now. You can't afford to get into trouble. Fine, I understand. An old acquaintance? Back then, in a fit of rage, I severed our bond and trampled all over his kindness. He must hate me to the bone. It is inevitable that he will reproach me when we meet again. That is why I cannot let Yu Ning handle the reception. Brother, your face has gone pale. Don't push yourself. I'm fine. My lord, you must be exhausted from your journey. I must trouble the general to arrange some comfortable lodging. The north is bitterly cold. Everywhere is much the same. Then I shall stay at the general's estate. Please enter the city, my lord. Please dismount, general. He is still recovering from a serious injury. Coming out to meet you all is already giving your master face. The north is a vital strategic stronghold of the Li dynasty. Without special circumstances, there is no need to dismount to perform official protocol. How is it that things are different at your home? Waiving protocol is a courtesy. Adhering to it is the requirement. That is enough. There is no need to make such a fuss. If I heard correctly just now, the person in the carriage is… Yes, since he holds an important position. Mind your tongue. Young General Lu. It has been a long time. Please enter the estate, my lord. You're injured? It is nothing serious. Thank you for your concern, my lord. Is this truly the general's estate? Stay if you like. Leave if you don't. So many annoying habits. You, Shiju, you've said too much. There is a welcome banquet tonight. I invite you to attend, Excellency. There will be dancers from the western regions. My thanks for the general's kindness. Why do I get the feeling he is in a bad mood? It would be a surprise if he were in a good one. He was always the most arrogant of them all. It seems I really did make him furious back then. Brother, why is he dressed like a peacock? He looks good, certainly. But in a military camp full of men, dressing up like this, I wonder who he is trying to impress. Brother Lu, it has been years. Do you have a sweetheart yet? Not yet. Father-in-law, you are drunk, Excellency. Our two families have long since severed that marriage alliance. Be careful with your words. The ancients spoke of broken mirrors reuniting. Has father-in-law never heard that? He is dressed like that just for you. He is gone mad. My sister has offended you. I hope you might show mercy, Excellency. Spare her this time. What if I told you that someone else is the one who offended me? I leave that to your judgment, Excellency. The general would do well to remember those words. General Lu, returning to the estate is enough. Don't trouble yourself with me. Brother Lu truly treasures him like the apple of his eye. Farewell, Excellency. Is Brother Lu drunk? Why did he stumble into my arms? She has had quite a bit to drink, and she is still recovering from her injuries. Please, handle her with care. Why push yourself if you can't hold your liquor? Yuning, you won't get lost. Does it hurt? It doesn't. You're pale as a sheet. How could it not hurt? Moisten your lips, Brother Fu. Hold it steady. You were the one who cut it off yourself. Now you want me to pick it back up. Lu Shining, What kind of logic is that? For me, these 3 years have been countless nights of fighting for my life. For him, he's been rolling in the lap of luxury in the capital. Perhaps he has already found someone he adores. Why should I be the one to pick it up? Is the person you like back in the north? Are you two together? I thought you were capable of more. 3 years. And you can't even win over a man. Stop fidgeting. How much longer until we arrive? Replying to my lord, we're just ahead. Let me go. Go ahead and make a scene. If you annoy me, I'll just marry your sister instead. My lord, get the medicinal wine. Yes. The starry sky. It feels just like 3 years ago. He and I were just as close back then. You've lost so much weight. How have you been living these past 3 years? The Northern Pass has been short on food for a long time. We relied entirely on help from the local people to keep fighting. When you don't eat much, you naturally grow thin. What is there to explain about that? Where is the room? That one is mine. Mine. Fine. It is yours. Lu Shining, are you expecting me to wait on you personally? The past is the past, but now you don't even look at me. I do look at you. Even if I can see you, I won't help you. Take me out to the streets tomorrow. I'll sleep in the next room tonight. Get some rest early. Maybe he only feels pity for me. Just like how one treats a stray cat or dog found by the road. Where is your sweetheart? Call them along too. I'll help you test the waters. Thank you, my lord. Military orders are strict. I dare not defy them. I have already notified your father. I am here on an imperial inspection. It is not a violation of military rules. My lord, look over here. The Yihong Pavilion has a new head courtesan. She is absolutely stunning. The Chunfeng House just got a new dancer. Her figure is exceptionally graceful. And there is that singer from Linglong Square. Her voice is so sweet and moving. Their arms are all too thin. Like bamboo skewers. Do they not get fed properly? Can their legs even support their bodies? And that one's personality is too timid. Always crying, it seems. It is irritating just to look at. Oh my lord. These are the beauties with the slimmest waists in our establishment. You couldn't find this kind of charm even in the capital. What kind of person do you actually like? Give me a hint, won't you? I want someone with a strong, fiery personality. Oh, you. If you like me, just say so. Why go through all this beating around the bush? General Lu. Do you have any preferences? They are all quite good. I will have them sent to your residence another day, my lord. If I am to marry, it will be in a grand sedan chair, a formal and honorable marriage. I don't want anything as beneath me as a concubine. Indeed, a pleasure house is no place to find a wife. A man, after all, should have a few romantic interests. It is only human nature. A few romantic interests? I had no idea my colleague had such refined tastes. You misunderstand, sir. I would never. Enough. I'll spare you this time. Bring out the best-looking one. Yes, yes. I'll go get them at once, sir. They say the military is poor, so that's where all the money has been flowing. You. Look at that pipa. That is no ordinary piece. Once we seize this flower house, the confiscated funds alone would be enough to pay the northern troops for a lifetime. Do you think I don't know about their dirty secrets? However, the underground factions in the north are deeply entrenched. Pull one hair and the whole body moves. With the war in such a heated state, we simply cannot afford to make a move. I thought he was just putting on an act. I didn't expect he would actually be drunk. Carefully now, help him up. My lady. My dear wife. Will you still be with me? He has been carrying it on him this whole time. In this life, I can only ever be General Lu. I cannot give anyone a promise. Show some self-respect, sir. Get out, sir. It's over, they know now. My secret, wretched feelings have finally been revealed to everyone. No self-respect. What will you do about it? Shameless. The Lord and I have nothing to do with each other. He has already seen it. Do you really not care about the judgment of the world? If you spend your whole life wearing this man's skin, I don't care. A man like him, as clear as the breeze and the moon, why bother getting tangled up with someone in my position? Please just let me go. I knew it. Lu Shining, this is the last time. If you don't want me, then I will stop pestering you. You fell into the creek again. Went out for drinks at the brothel. Fell a few times too. Is Lord Fu there as well? He is. He is quite fond of women. He is a red-blooded man after all. Isn't he supposed to like women? Indeed, he is supposed to. Have you lost your mind? You never used to drink. Ever since he arrived, you've been drinking every single day. They are gossiping about you. Good. Good. Their mouths are their own. I cannot control what they say. I can guess what they're saying without asking. It is nothing more than me and Fu Jinchuan being improperly involved, shaming the Northern Pass. So, what is really going on between the two of you? Are you really with him? Yuning. I am the last one left of our family. I cannot fall, even if there were something between us. War is coming. Put these personal thoughts away. If anyone's skin is itching for trouble, show no mercy. Prepare hot water. Do not let the second young lady or my father know about this. You. Grit your teeth and endure it. Don't look. There is an inherent difference between a woman and a man. I don't want to watch you continue like this. The Northern Pass must remain in the Liu family's hands. If I were to give up, those people would crush us into the abyss themselves. Is that the reason you chose him? Him? The person you like, a man who can help you achieve greatness. Actually, I am curious. What exactly is so exceptional about him? You are fine as you are. You don't need to compare yourself to others. I cannot fight, and I cannot watch you, a girl, charge into the front lines, scarred and battered. Swords and blades on the battlefield have no eyes. Yet I cannot guard your side. And you call this good? But this armor is truly excellent. Compared to the cut-rate gear we had before winter, it is many times better. If not for Fu Jinchuan mediating and running about, the casualties would have been catastrophic. This is all I can do. I cannot see you, so I will make sure they live well. To protect you in my stead, I must return soon. There are some things you cannot do. That only I can handle. I know he is returning to the capital to impeach officials in the north, but why did such a thankless task have to fall on him? I have spent 3 years clearing the obstacles for you. It was worth it, having loved you. I wish for you to soon weather the storms and be cleared of worry, and achieve great fame and success. Appointed as the Marquis of Northern Defense. 1 month is the deadline. Pacify the Northern barbarians. Granted 1 iron certificate of amnesty to facilitate your actions. The troops of all 3 provinces are yours to command. Still, the Emperor is willing to stake it all. It means entrusting his back to me. The Northern Pass is the first act of the Emperor's killing the chicken to warn the monkey. A fight to the death. You are allowed to win but not to lose. This journey is a matter of life and death. Young General Liu, there are truly some words I must speak. My master clearly had much better options, yet he took on this wretched job for your sake. Now, the Mingyi Manor is enduring so much gossip and rumors. If the general doesn't offer a word of thanks, that is fine. But please, do not torment my master. I apologize, I never knew. If he doesn't say it, you naturally wouldn't know. In the capital, how many fine daughters of good families are waiting to be married, yet none catch my master's eye. He insists on coming to the Northern Pass to pursue a daughter of the Liu family. If the general still has a conscience, Jushi, there is something I can only tell you. If I go to the battlefield this time, I might not make it back. If your master refuses to marry another, please tell him this. He is the only one I have ever loved. I offer my life to the realm, only to ensure his peace for the rest of his days. With children at his knees, Liu Shining has little fortune in love. 3 lives for 1. If he forgets, then so be it. General, with the heavy snow blocking the mountains, will the barbarians really come? This is a crucial strategic point for their provisions. A man must eat to survive. They will surely come. My father and Yuning are guarding the eastern route. I will lead the men at the mountain pass alone, the northern border of the Li dynasty. Once we cut off their supply lines, we can crush them and march straight into their heartland. This is the most dangerous battle, but also the most vital one. The mountain paths are treacherous at night. Why would they choose this moment to transport grain? There is something suspicious about this. General, if we don't strike now, they will leave the valley. Wait, this is wrong. They've moved their main force to the eastern ridge. Retreat, retreat. Bring me Liu Shining's head. A heavy reward for the king. My father and Yuning must have intercepted the supplies. By tomorrow our 3 armies will shatter their fragile armor and advance straight to the royal court. Trading 3 for 1 isn't a loss. Thank heavens, the words held in my heart. I told you long ago. That brilliant and bold figure. I will likely never see her again in this lifetime. Liu Shining. Liu Shining, where are you hurt? Why are you here? Do you know where the reinforcements are? I don't know. I can't tell which way is which. The moon is over there. Keep moving forward. Hold on tight to me. If we survive this, you'll owe me your life. Agreed. What happened to your leg? A fall. It is nothing serious. The ravine is thousands of feet deep. When I jumped down, I had no intention of surviving. I only wanted to ensure my remains would not fall into enemy hands. If not for the thick, tangled trees breaking my fall, I would have been dead already. Fu Jinchuan, did you really not think of anything before jumping down after me? Aren't you afraid to die? Dying for love. How hard can it be? Getting a man of few words like you to speak up is truly difficult, thanks to Shiju's sharp wits. Otherwise, how long were you planning to hide this from me? Probably until the very end. There is no path ahead. Put me down. What are you trying to do? Cut through it. If we wait until dawn, the pursuers will track us down. Let me cut it. I'll do it. Sit down. Don't get in my way. Fu Jinchuan, why did you come? There are people behind us. We can't wait any longer. Get on. What if they discover us? I'll hold them off. You run. Do you take me for a coward who fears death? If we return together. If we die together. Don't be afraid. Search. Be thorough. Over there, to the underworld. I'll clear the way for you. What kind of place is this? Go. Hurry. They've left. Fu Jinchuan. Fu Jinchuan. Fu Jinchuan. I'm guarding you. I'm not going anywhere. Fu Jinchuan, don't cry. You go first. I'll rest for a moment, then go back and wait for you. Don't you dare die for me. Go. I've liked you for many years. I don't want to go. I was beaten because of you. It is only fair that you dress my wounds, right? Blue Shining. What do you want to be in the future? I want to be a general. Then I'll be the power behind the throne, so you'll have nothing to worry about. Is that so? That was the first time I was captivated by a young man's radiant smile, etched into time from that moment on, becoming a dream beyond my reach. Blue Shining, I think I've fallen for someone. Which family's daughter is she? Never mind, forget it. Let's go to the brothel today. Which one do you like? They're all fine. Only now do I see the probing in his eyes back then, and my response, meant to maintain my disguise as a man, slowly extinguished his hope. Through constant probing and evasion, we drifted further and further apart. Brother. Hurry. They're awake. Where is Fu Jinchuan? He is alive. Don't be so anxious. Brother. I'm not afraid. We are both alive. Everyone out, please. I watched her. At this moment, even the wind and snow outside seem to have stopped. As long as he is here, I am truly at peace. I deserve death for my incompetence. Had I known you and Lord Fu were so deeply in love, I never would have brought you both to that pleasure house. Though a romance between two men is rare, it is not without precedent. This time, the general and Lord Fu have proven their devotion through adversity, and everyone has witnessed it. Whoever the general chooses to love, we shall accept. Let us not speak of this again. How did you manage to find us that day? Reporting to the general, when we tracked you down, Lord Fu was shielding you in his arms, terrified that you might lose your life to the elements. He himself was nearly frozen solid. Even the physician shook his head, saying it would be difficult to save him should he not have returned to the capital. Why would he appear within the northern barbarian territory? That day Lord Fu rode 1,000 miles alone into the northern barbarian lands. None of us could keep up. I have spent decades on the battlefield, but I have never seen such reckless riding. He whipped his horse until the reins were nearly worn through. Even an imperial urgent dispatch could not have been faster. It seems Shiju finally told him about my whereabouts after all. He risked his life to save me, and now I find myself at a loss as to how to face him. How is he today? Lord Fu has not yet recovered, and he requires quiet rest. He is not yet fit for visitors. I have failed the princess's kindness. The heir has developed a penchant for men. I failed to watch over him. I deserve death. I am guilty of a capital offense. I am guilty. and I ask for the emperor's punishment. You have just pacified the north, slaying the northern barbarian king. You are a hero of the imperial court. Why do you ask for punishment? I am actually a woman. I have deceived your majesty. I ask for your severe punishment. It was hard on you. To earn this medallion of exemption from death, you nearly lost your life. Since you have hidden it for so many years, why not continue to keep the secret? Because I wish to marry. That is the most absurd reason I have ever heard. Be that as it may, you were the one who pacified the northern barbarians. And since your father does not want this title, the position of Marquis of the Northern Defense must still fall to you. Tell me, whose son do you wish to marry? I shall grant you a royal marriage. Fu Jinchuan, the heir to the Prince of Mingyi's estate. Fu Jinchuan. The Prince of Mingyi's family is of noble standing. Would it not be better if you spoke to them yourself? Your subject accepts the decree and offers thanks. From that night on, the Li dynasty had its first female marquis with command over heavy troops. Marquise, my master says that since he saved your life, you must repay the debt of gratitude. What does he want? My master's words were that you broke our alliance and friendship and were heartless first. My master chased you all the way from the capital to the northern pass, and all the lovesick suffering he endured. You must make up for it. I was indeed in the wrong back then. I accept it even if he wants to settle old scores. It is nothing more than wanting me to take the initiative to woo him for once. I do not know how to woo someone, but I am willing to learn. After that day, the story of me pursuing Fu Jinchuan caused a sensation throughout the capital. The many young ladies who admired him all waited to watch the show. Sister, it really doesn't taste good. I beg you, stop cooking. There is nothing wrong with chasing a man, but there is no need to poison him. The way he looks, he is clearly dressed with great care, just like a pure and detached high mountain flower. Yu Ning was right. He's a cunning peacock. She was spot on. You're here. Yeah. Are your wounds feeling any better? Yeah. Something to eat? Yeah. It is my first time making this. Have a taste. Don't eat it. How long have you been learning? Only a few days. Have I ever told you that you're like a little mute? You don't even know how to say it hurts. It doesn't hurt. The idea of you chasing me is pure fantasy. These blade wounds were meant for my flesh. I can do it. I'm done chasing. Lu Xining, you've won him over. Well, did he bully you? I won him over. You really did? With just a bowl of noodles. This man is so easy to trick. Ha ha ha. He even managed to swallow your poison. The capital isn't like the northern frontier. Watch your tongue. Sister, what happened to your mouth? It is nothing. It is swollen. Did he kiss you? How dare he kiss you? Yu Ning, I'm going to kill him. Calm down. What is all this, my lord Marquis? I heard that if you offer a bowl of wonton noodles and a kiss, you can win the favor of the young heir. They are certainly compared to someone useless like me 10,000 times better. Should I step forward? Young ladies. The young heir says, the wonton noodles are a must, and a sweet kiss too. But most importantly, one's hands must have been stained with barbarian blood, and one's feet must have trod the gates of the northern pass. You must be able to handle a spear and break in a wild horse. You must be indifferent to my master, yet still be able to make him fall for you completely. What kind of nonsense is this? Is this a marriage proposal, or is he looking for a war god? You might as well go to the Marquise's estate and propose directly. Please, Marquis, my master is waiting. Why did you just get here? I came as soon as I woke up. I missed you so much I couldn't sleep all night. He never hesitates to express his feelings, displaying his most fervent emotions so openly before me, leaving nowhere for my cowardice to hide. I feel the same. I've claimed this one. Don't you dare give it to anyone else from now on. The emperor has issued a decree. We bestow our favor upon this loyal official through a state wedding, wishing the couple a blessed union, bound heart and soul forever. This is the highest honor the emperor can grant me. You are an eagle in the sky, meet to soar across the vast horizon. Common quarters cannot cage you. When I marry you, it will not be with a carriage that binds your wings, but to give you the freedom to gallop across the land. After all we have endured, may the realm remain secure, and may we grow old together.